I can't wait to see my children be the leaders, the next generation to be the leaders. And that's why we have the decisions we are making now, me as a mayor, but regional leaders, local leaders,
Yes.
Those who are put into the position, we have to make those decisions right now to make sure that our children's generation have that authority. Supporting, sharing is what allowed the Inuit to survive today. And I think that's something that's still important. Sometimes we have a tendency to forget it because everything is changing so quickly. We kind of forget that. But once we are dealing with a problem, or when there's a crisis that may happen in our community, helping each other happens really quickly, and that allows us to keep surviving and to keep going ahead. We're very proud people. And I hope that is something that we're going to be able to pass on to my children and to my grandchildren that are coming.
Okay, when you're teaching them Inuit, we're not just thinking language, we're also thinking being Inuk. So we always go back to the land. So I teach them about the importance of knowing your land. It's your land. When I'm told to teach this stuff, I had to really review and study them too, because I didn't know a lot of the stuff. You know, the only thing I went through was just a very formal education system. And I had to relearn this, and I thought, oh, I wish I knew these sooner. The Inuit laws, principles, and values, because they still apply today. An example, Kuujjuaq. Kuujjuaq means if you hear someone talking about another person, you don't go there and tell them, oh, that person was talking about you. Because what that's going to create is disharmony among people. You let it go. You don't give them bad news, you know, those little things. When someone places a stone on something, that was a rule telling everybody this belongs to somebody you don't touch. Today, a lot of people say, oh, finders keepers, it's not mine. Inuit rule was no. Someone worked hard for that, you respect that. So all these different rules that we're learning, it makes me really excited. I feel like I'm learning with the students too, I am. So that's the really fun part to teach the older groups. They're more mature, and hopefully they can take these tools in their adult life.
When I say I'm stuck between both cultures, is I'm very modern with working and computers. I can live a city life and I can live a cultural, traditional way of life. It's a thing you have to really practice in order to keep.
Want to sing a song?
Sing me a song before we start.
Yeah, right. Give me a guitar, I'll sing a song. Kuujjuaq Corporation started back in 1978. So actually this year, we're 40 years old this year, in 2018. I'm still in communications. I'm the communications coordinator for the Kuujjuaq Corporation. And before that, I was with CBC for over 30 years. So that's what I do. Kuujjuaq is our head office, and it's been our head office since the early 1970s. We've had our main office here in Kuujjuaq, and we represent 14 communities in Nunavik. Their political aspirations are the ones that we represent. So if Quebec wants to make a deal on any issue or other organizations, they go to Kuujjuaq and consult with Kuujjuaq, because we represent all the Inuit. We're a very different kind of a corporation in all of Canada. We're the only corporation in all of Canada that represents the political interest of a certain group, and we also have a role to play in economic development.
You have to love working for people. It's the baseline of being a mayor is you do it for the people. You don't do it for yourself. You don't do it for the family. You do it for the community and for the people. So this is something I grew up. My parents were always very involved with the community. and helping people. And I learned that from them by watching how they treated others. So this is something I always wanted to do, is to help others. So when there was an opportunity to run for the office, I think it's time. I've been doing it for 6 years. It's a lot of challenge. It's not the easiest job in the world, but it's fulfilling. Once you accomplish a project, or once you accomplish something with the community, it makes it worthwhile. But you have to enjoy it. Plus, I always tell people, it's not everyone who gets a chance to be mayor. And to have had this opportunity to be mayor for the community of Kuujjuaq is a privilege, it's an honor, and I still enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
It's very hard trying to adapt to both worlds.
Yes.
Sometimes, if you want to go hunting, you have to have money to buy gasoline, to buy food. You have to buy all these things.
Really,
so you have to work very hard in order to keep your culture.
Yes, everything's so expensive today too.
Yes, it is.
Gas and whatever you need to take out on the land.
There's a lot of things. We're in the tree line. We're not in the ocean, but we're on a river system that is connected to the ocean. So we have a lot of river fish, whitefish, trout, lake trout, all along our river. Salmon, of course. Used to be char. Rare occasion we find char here. And from in the land, in the bush, we harvest muskrats, beavers, anything that's in the bush, rabbits, wolves, foxes, martens, anything we can trap around here. Also, we are connected to the ocean, so we have an abundance of animals like seals. Whales don't often come by, but beluga whales mainly. Also, we're very fortunate to have mussel picking grounds. No clams, but if you go a bit further, you can go collect clams as well. And then we have the tundra, which is north of here, because we're in the tree line. There's muskox, caribou,
Oh my goodness.
all sorts of things. You can find black bears, polar bears, and living in the tree line, there's ptarmigan, and then we have the rocky ptarmigan that are in the tundra as well. So living in the tree line is kind of a plus,
Yes.
and kind of a minus.
Yes.
But the tundra people get a lot of other amazing foods that we don't have.
So out of the 14 Inuit communities in Nunavik, northern Quebec, we call Nunavik, I like to say that Kuujjuaq is the unofficial capital of the region. We have a population of about 2,700 people. All of the regional Inuit organizations have headquarters and head offices here in Kuujjuaq, Makivik Corporation, Kativik Regional Government, Kativik School Board, the Regional Board of Health and Social Services, the Housing Bureau. So that's the biggest community out of the 14. It's growing. The community is continuing to grow. So you have every Inuit community, because we live in the province of Quebec, where it's a very French province. The first 3 years of school is all in Inuktitut. From kindergarten, grade 1 and 2, there's no second language. In the third year, a second language is introduced, either French or English.
I love communicating with people like yourself that love the language like I do. And I feel sometimes that I'm the only one that loves my language. But I know a lot of them do, but they just scared to try to speak the language. Some of them do, or they're shy. Or they shy away, or that's from residential school that told them not to speak the language. So it's hard for them to speak it. And I'm so glad to meet you. Yes.
Do I know everything? Absolutely not. I'm still learning. I realize I know even less. And that I need to know more. But the principle is, whatever I learn, I share.
Yes.
And that's what I try to tell them. Share too what you learn. But also knowledge.
Yeah.
My name is Sami Kuujjuaq. Yes, originally from Kuujjuaq, which is the north of here, small town. But I live here over 20 years now, so been an artist all my life, pretty much. Also, I did coordinate a lot of art workshops for the region, and so I'm involved in arts all the time.
Where are we right now?
Oh, we're in front of
What kind of building is this?
It's the town hall, but the theater is also the NV office. The artwork outside, I won the competition for that, so that's my my works on the building.
Yeah, beautiful. It's really nice.
Yeah, I've done quite a bit of outside work for other villages, the school, and other buildings, new buildings kind of thing. So that's one of them.
Nunavik, the region of Nunavik is still very isolated compared to the rest of the province or the rest of Canada. As like most Inuit communities throughout the Arctic, where the only way in and out is by plane. So the cost of living is high, but we're still nicely isolated, I'll put it that way. Although technology such as social media and smartphones are available, but we still have our own little corner within the province or within Canada. But our social way of life as Inuit is still, it's still not easy, but we're still very proud to be Inuit, to be able to speak our language. But our traditions, values that were taught to us by our parents and our grandparents are still pretty strong. Hunting is still extremely strong. Living off the land, the animals and the fish and the birds is still very, very important. Yes. And it's something that children are still being taught. Of course, because everything is changing very quickly, sometimes it gets difficult to see how we're being affected by the change. But there's still enough people in our community that are pushing to make sure that we are preserving our culture, our language, our way of life. Laughter is still very, very important. Socializing. Christmas games is probably one of our really important moment, where we spend 2 weeks at the community center. Yes. We start 8 o'clock at night and we go home 2, 3 in the morning, and we just play Christmas games. Socializing or gathering, social gatherings are still very important. Feasts, when there's a big event happening, getting together and having a feast is still very important. Sharing is we understand now that sharing is what allowed our people to survive in such a harsh environment.
I have so much to share. There's so much. I'm never bored. When I, even my husband says, don't you finish like at 5? You come home at 6? Well, once I get into the stuff, I just get really into it. And I try to bring in actual stuff, you know. One of the assignments they have to do is they have to highlight the hullik completely. We collect the different kind of mosses and, you know, try to apply those in. And because one of the elders said, you know, these stuff are not just for old people. They're your stuff. Even if you don't know how to use it, once you start applying it, it will come alive. So those are the things I try to share with them. Kuujjuaq School Board also has a cultural program where they try to do more of the hands-on, because I'm more the teaching, the guidance. One of the posters over there is talking about Inuit values and Inuit rules. And I also have a lot of Inuit folklore, legends in Inuit, even in English. because I want them to know those as well, because what they have to do is, okay, read the story. One of their assignment was, okay, choose one of the stories and the legends and create a PowerPoint. But also go back to the main thing is, what are they really trying to tell us in that story? What is the moral in the legend? Because that's how they did it, by storytelling. Unikasuti. Okay, so that I try to get them to do. We go back to the legends as well, because those will help us become that whole human being, or the sound human being.
Exactly. Well, that's only way we used to learn. That's why we drum dance too. Drum dance to show them the language while we're drum dancing. And it's the same thing telling stories, eh? When you're listening to a story, you go right inside the story. You're following everywhere and everything that they're doing in the story. So this makes you an Inuit who you are. What kind of Inuit you would be when you grow older.
Yeah. I really like when I started to understand those Inuit, and the foundational principles was, we're not only just preparing you for now, but we're trying to look already for your future.
Yes.
So when a baby is born, right from birth, they're already told, your future is there, your future is there. So those things, trying to get the students to see the bigger picture.
Yes.
Because there will be days when our vision, and that even applies to me as an adult, or to anybody really, not just to the youth, but those really help me feel more calm and comfortable being who I am.
Yes. Exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Because you're so strong in your language and your culture, tradition, just put peace in my heart, or put power in me. But yes, we can still do it, because there's a lot of things that's not going the way I wish it was going in our community.
Yes, we have a lot of issues, and our historical trauma, generational trauma, the colonization is something we're just finally starting to understand, that what my grandparents went through and their parents, and how the way of life was being changed drastically and very quickly, it has an effect on me, and it has an effect on my children. And I'm just starting to learn that what happened years ago, way before I was born, has an effect on me today and who I am. And it has an effect on our people in our community. And because we're finally starting to understand this, when I think back, it's like, how are we going to deal with the challenges that we have as Inuit? First of all, we need to understand our history.
Yes.
And for too long, my ancestors were being put down and were not given a chance to make decisions. They didn't have authority, and that authority was taken away from us.
Okay, when you're teaching them Inuit, we're not just thinking language, we're also thinking being Inuk. So we always go back to the land. So I teach them about the importance of knowing your land. It's your land. Yes, you need to know the Inuit terms for river, valley, hills, but even these lakes have names. Like you said, you were born on a lake with a name. You got to know these lakes because they are your lakes. And when you are going to go camping, one of the traditional rules is you're supposed to tell someone where you're going all the time. So if you don't know the name, people can't find you. You have to know them. So I like covering that.
Yes.
Going back to the history, I love also teaching the James Bay Agreement, because we are beneficiaries of the James Bay Northern Quebec Agreement. What is that? Especially when they're in secondary 4, where now they're becoming young adults, right? So they need to know that they are part of a bigger picture.
I feel very hopeful, because we're in the next generation, in my children's generation, once they become leaders, that authority is going to come back with them. and that it's the Inuit who are going to make these decisions for themselves, and it's not going to be the government that's down south who are going to be making these. And when I think about that, that we will reclaim that authority, that it is my land, it is my people, and it is my choice. That's when I get really excited. I get really hopeful. I can't wait to see my children be the leaders. The next generation to be the leaders, and that's why we have the decisions we are making now. Me as a mayor, but regional leaders, local leaders, those who are put into the position. We have to make those decisions right now to make sure that our children's generation have that authority.
Thank you so much.
The mission and the mandate is Inuit. I think in Nunavut they call it Inuit, but in Nunavik they call it Inuit, creating a sound human being. We even have that in our pay stub. The flip the pay stub, the mandate is there. And so I'm always questioning myself, am I creating a sound human being with my students? And I often ask them, am I teaching you really, or am I just giving you busy work? Because it's a big role that I am supposed to be part of the team that's trying to make you a complete human being. So I ask them, so what is a complete human being? What are those? So we start looking at some of the foundational philosophy. The elders put it together. I collect some here, there, listen to the audio recordings. So it was a lot of gathering because even I myself didn't know those rules.
Hello, this message is for elementary. Un petit message pour les enseignants et les élèves de l'élémentaire.
Okay, thank you so very much. Beautiful. Take off. Kuya nami. Corner to nga.
It's very good with bacon.
Okay.